Oh, hi there. How are y'all doing? So, today, I'm going to be talking about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So, when I went into this movie, I was thinking, well, how is it going to exceed my expectations from Raiders of the Lost Ark? And after watching this movie, I realized I should have probably, had the same expectations I had for that first movie. Because when I watched the first movie, it ended up being fantastic. But when I watched this movie, it was kind of like, eh? I think something else that comes about from this, though, is that I'm watching this over 30 years after the movie's been released. Things are going to change a little bit. I think this one had a little more datedness to it, though, because of the different cultures that came about, because of the different ways that we could show different races without really having to have any repercussions for it. I think the thing that freaked me out the most was the fact of just the different dishes that were being eaten in India, but we'll get there. So, this starts out in Shanghai, and I love musicals, but I have to admit, I didn't expect to see a musical in the first couple minutes in this Temple of Doom movie. I wasn't feeling any, I wasn't having any fear. There wasn't really any doom here anyway. And so, the lead actress danced through the letters of the opening title, and I thought, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. It goes into a exchange of guns and wordplay of sorts between an Indy and all of these Chinese men, and there's a lot of shooting, and you can see that Indy doesn't have any problems with threatening to kill Winnie, but the Chinese guys don't really give a shit. They're just kind of like, yeah, okay, cool, Indy, you got it, you can do that. They went through this whole over-the-top charade, and I have to admit it was pretty fun, but I think at the same time, I realized I was not going to like this actress. She was quite different from the last one of Marion, whereas Marion, she had her ways of bitching at Indy, but she held her own. This woman couldn't hold a fucking ham sandwich. She wasn't even hammy either, for that matter. But we'll get there. So, it comes about, all of this charades and over-the-top things are going on. He gets out. He ends up getting into the car of this kid who is, no joke, named Short Round. And I don't know whether I laughed or I grimaced. I'm usually not one to really get offended by these kinds of things. I think it was just remarkable just seeing how someone had the balls to have that name. And I guess you could argue that, that's just what the kid's name was. Some people have legitimate names that sound stereotypical. I had a professor once that had a similar kind of aspect. But moving on. This kid is driving them out, and he's like, 8 years old, if that? But he's very resourceful, and he looks like God next to the actress. She basically just screamed at everything. She hated bugs, which I'm not a fan of bugs, but come on. Elephants, the jungle, basically anything outdoors, that wasn't her singer career, and she wanted to go back to Shanghai really bad. And I'm thinking, yes, just go back to Shanghai already, do it! And that wasn't quite the case. And then later on, out of nowhere, it really seems, Indy and this actress, who I guess he calls Willie, which, okay. I thought it was Winnie at first, but it doesn't really matter. She's crazy, and not in a fun way. They go through an elephant ride. They get taken through a plane, but you see the Chinese guys from the beginning, set them up, and the pilots jumped ship, and they dive out of this plane with a fucking raft that looks like a taco. And it's probably because I've already seen someone tear into the over-the-topness and non-realisticness of this, but I was like, wow, no impact? None? Man, you must have had a lucky day, good sir. And then they fall off a waterfall, and even though I bitched at the taco, I was like, oh, I would love to just fall off a waterfall like that, And it looked more fun to me, and it was, I was a little more sucked in at this point. I was like, okay, you've given me over to the madness movie, you win. So it moves on, and then the bulk of the rest of the story basically takes place in India. And they're in the jungle at first, and I'm thinking, okay, they're going to have a long pilgrimage to get to India. They're going to have a lot more hijinks and shenanigans. That wasn't really the case. They set off after a little bit of an encounter, and then they're like, oh, I guess we're in India now. Oh, okay. The encounter that they had was pretty important, though, so I'll talk about that. So, basically, this village was impoverished, famished. Their children were taken away from them, and there was talk about this great stone. And Indy looks at them and he says, you're full of shit. and obviously, because it's this movie, they're not going to be full of it, but I appreciated that Indy at least didn't automatically agree. Now, when they get to India and they get to this palace, the people there at first seem very nice, and then it's when it's dinner time that things change. They eat monkey brains. Yeah, that's a thing. This guy just eats cockroaches for fun. I don't remember Indian food being this way. Now, I gotta give him credit. I've never been to India. I don't exactly know. But I have tried, to go out to places with Indian cuisine and, get a better feel. I just don't remember it being that heavy on bugs. I really don't. But of course, it's done to make Winnie scream some more. And I'm going to call her Winnie because it's more fun, even though he keeps calling her Willie. And they get this sudden love interest, which really, it came out of nowhere, and it didn't feel real or even possible in the slightest bit. They get through this tunnel. That was a lot of fun. They explore some stuff. There's a lot of screaming that happens. They manage to find their way out, thankfully. Winnie does a thing or two, but when she does something, she always gets one-upped by Short Round. And because Short Round's just a badass. He's a lot of fun, and he's like, yeah, Indy, this is cool, Indy. Wow, Indy. And I know I've seen people harp on the wow part, but it didn't feel as bad as I've seen in other contexts. I've seen that character, and it's been done worse, in my opinion. So, they come through this trap, they get out, because Short Round, figures out the way. Then there's this whole ritual thing, of where they basically sacrifice people to their god. That's where a lot of this stuff really digs into the nitty-gritty and the nasty, and this guy's obsessed with taking hearts out. And this is the PG movie, and I'm pretty sure this is the movie that changed all of the standards for the MPAA, the Motion Picture Academy, the one that sets all the ratings. And they're like, this PG, isn't there like a sub-level between PG and R? And that's where PG-13 came in. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, they go through a lot of fighting. It looks like Indy has been won over by the evil side. And you're like, oh shit, is he really doing it? And for a few seconds I was like, he seems zoned out. He seems like he's really that bad now. And of course, in the deep crevices of your heart, he's not. He's just fooling them. And they manage to get out. He gets Winnie out of her trap. Yeah, the whole damsel in distress. If I haven't already felt that way, I definitely feel it now. But then they get through this like mine and like a caboose. I don't remember the exact name, but it's it's the one where they take like a mine train and they have a chase, and it's spectacular, and they have all these weaves and ins and outs, and all these sword fights and trying to take this kid and split him in two. It's crazy and it's fun. But they figure their way out. They free the kids and they go back to the village and that's it. And I was just like, wow, there were fun parts in it, but I just didn't get this overall sense of awe and wonder that I had in the last one. I liked Marion a lot more, the lady that they paired up Indy with. Now, I guess this was a prequel, so it was technically before all that, so maybe Indy was just getting polished off, getting the rust removed, getting back in the character. I'll give him a pass on that, but yeah, I kind of wish they had Winnie be a more effective character. That's my main gripe, and even though it's my main gripe, it's a huge gripe, and yeah, it's kind of tarnished the movie. But that being said, Short Round was a lot of fun. However much you want to make fun of his name, he's still a great character. He was hilarious. Indy, cool as always. Coming through all the different situations and the scenery, I love that about these movies. It's been a lot of fun. And so I would say I'd watch Temple of Doom. Just be patient with this character of Winnie, this singer. That's what I've got to say. Alright, thanks y'all. This was a lot of fun to do. I appreciate it. Alright, y'all have a great day now. Bye.